Really, your site is seeing a lot of changes, I'm guessing. And what ended up eventually leading you to Shopify?
Well, it got to a point one where I left computers and software to focus on putty full time. And I guess I took with me a bit of burnout from doing all of that work for my clients. And so when it came time for our online store, as I had hobbled it together to fade away and for it to become something new, I was looking for something that was more of a turnkey solution. I wasn't looking to be that guy who could customize everything, who could write my own code to make it do X, Y, and Z. I was focusing on growing our putty business. I had employees, I had obligations. It wasn't going to be a pet project, maybe like it had been almost a hobby, all those years ago. And amongst the different competitors, Shopify, it came to the top because Shopify, to me, seemed to have a real focus on the user experience, on design, and being very frictionless. It wasn't a solution provided by like a merchant gateway because they had to offer their customers something. There seemed to be someone at the core of it, behind the scenes who was like, we can change the customer experience to make shopping online fun, less tedious, so that was the one we chose.
So being from, the software tech background, what recommendations would you have for others that are trying to follow this same path of, maybe starting their own business and maybe looking at Shopify from a tech standpoint? What advice would you have for them?
I like to focus on technical development. Minimum viable product is something you should have written on your wall and you should be looking at every day. And also, we have a rule here at Crazy Aaron's, which is if we have a process, an internal process that's developed for a variety of reasons, that's going to require a custom solution, that is a custom template, custom code, then we need to think about changing our process. Because custom, it leads you down a path which makes it more and more difficult for you to maintain it over time. The more you can swim with the pack, now, of course, you want your brand to be individuated and you want it to stand out and this is your labor of love. You want it to be something. But there are creative ways to do that where you're at least minimizing the customization or like you're suspicious of customization. And I think Shopify offers a tremendous number of sort of stock templates that you can use so that your business can look unique. You don't need to, spend money you don't need to spend. And also, you can get it up and running. Because the sooner you start in front of customers, the sooner you appear to all the search engines and social media and to your customers, the more sales you're going to get. So how quickly can you get there with minimum viable product, and how can you keep it as simple as possible?
That's such an interesting perspective because we do have, we work with clients who, maybe they haven't made the switch over to Shopify or to some other thing similar to it. And they have customized so many things on their old site that they can't get away from it. It's it's so integral to their business that it's getting farther and farther behind and harder to maintain because of that, and it's a really interesting perspective. I like that a lot.
It's a perspective that I learned being an engineer because, of course, as an engineer, you love to write code and you love to customize it to make it yours. But as I matured as a person and started seeing more of a project management life cycle, not just write the code and walk away, I could see how I was digging my own hole and making a distraction for me running and growing my business because time was spent sort of trying to dig out of that customized hole rather than reaching more customers or spending more time on marketing or developing new innovative products. Those are things that would really add value to my business, not sure, there might be a difference in abandonment rate by a very small percentage to have my special custom feature versus not, but I could compensate that tenfold by just having a product that's more innovative or spending more time sort of finding the right group of people to see the product. Those things have more value. Small business is all about cash flow. So the sooner you have money coming in, the sooner you can start figuring out how to grow your business. But if you're just sort of in a holding pattern waiting for perfection, don't let perfection be the enemy of the good. We used to call it, don't create gold-plated solutions. Your customer needs a solution. It doesn't need to be plated in gold. I've sat in many meetings where, with my team who are smart and know what we're doing as a business, well, we need a filter and it can do all these different slicing and dicing of the product for Shopify. And I get it, but if it's going to have to be a big custom job, then make that version 2, and maybe version never, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because it makes sense in a room, which is a bit of an echo chamber, doesn't mean that it's going to make sense to consumers. I find, based on my work and user experience, what makes sense to consumers is if our site is exactly like the last one they were on, and they know how to use it.
Click on the video to watch the full Masters of the Shopiverse podcast.